Chapter 56. Lee Cherie paced the floor. She sat on the cot. She gave to foam rubber its first imprint in history of a royal behind. She walked to the windows and looked into the black. She tried out the chamber pot, although she really had nothing to contribute. She lay on the cot, ceiling, ceiling, ceiling. She turned over. Floor, floor, floor. She got up and, like a vacuum cleaner with insomnia, roamed the room some more. For 3 days she did such things. Perhaps she was coming to terms with the space, although surely she realized that space is merely a device to prevent everything from being in the same spot. On the 4th day, she decided to think in an organized manner about the problem of romance. When we're incomplete, we're always searching for somebody to complete us. When, after a few years or few months of a relationship, we find that we're still unfulfilled, we blame our partners and take up with somebody more promising. This can go on and on. Series polygamy. Until we admit that while a partner can add sweet dimensions to our lives, we, each of us, are responsible for our own fulfillment. Nobody else can provide it for us, and to believe otherwise is to delude ourselves dangerously and to program for eventual failure every relationship we enter. Hey, that's pretty good. If I had a pencil and paper, I'd write that down. Alas, she had no pencil, while the roll of paper sat there by the chamber pot was destined for a different end. Nice. Next, she thought, when two people meet and fall in love, there's a sudden rush of magic. Magic is just naturally present then. We tend to feed on that gratuitous magic without striving to make any more. One day we wake up and find that the magic is gone. We hustle to get it back, but by then it's usually too late. We've used it up. What we have to do is work like hell at making additional magic right from the start. It's hard work, especially it seems superfluous or redundant. But if we can remember to do it, we greatly improve our chances of making love stay. She was unsure if that idea was profound or trite. She was only sure that it mattered. Then, she thought, the mystics say that as soon as you give it up, you can have it. That may be true, but who wants it when you don't want it? Lee Cherie tried to think more thoughts about romance. Her mind wandered. Toward dawn of the 5th day, she masturbated. It was unintentional. She meant only to test herself for signs of numbness, atrophy, shrinkage, aridity. As the damp genital spark flashed from her fingertips, her little hand withdrew in surprise. Cautiously, it returned. It met no resistance. It slithered through the folds of salt meat and peach. It pressed the seaweed trigger. Afterwards, she was depressed. She felt that she had violated the purity of her hermitage. Try as she might, she could not imagine Bernard masturbating in his cell. Bernard didn't require an ad agency to tell him the difference between the sponsor's product and brand X. Bernard wouldn't accept an ignominious substitute. Those cherubs that circle in an aura of blue light, the rocking bed of true lovers, those angels do not fly for masturbators. In the future, she would try to channel her sexual energy into something more elevating than the do-it-yourself orgasm. But what? She tried to name the 50 states and their capitals, but she could never get past South Dakota. She tried to name the 9 planets in our solar system and was bewildered to find that she could name 10, counting Argon. She tried to remember why George Harrison was her favorite Beatle. Surely it was his sincerity, his deep spirituality, his compassion for suffering humanity, only to discover that for some reason she now preferred the rebellious explorer John Lennon. She played a game in which she was given the power to pass one law to which every person in the world must adhere. What law must she lay down? What one law could change the world? You couldn't force people to love their neighbors as themselves. There already were laws against killing, yet murderers continued. Certainly, to make the internal combustion engine illegal would improve things enormously, but how long before industry would put a nuclear-powered car in every radioactive garage? Suppose she made everything illegal. Then everybody would be outlaws. Would Bernard be delighted or horrified? In another game, she could give Academy Awards to the movies of her choice, the films that really deserved them. She quickly ran out of candidates and began fantasizing a movie. She only knew one plot, however, and she could never quite handle the scene in which the frog was dashed against the wall. Besides, whatever happened to the golden ball? Her fantasies gave way to dreams, or was it the other way around? In either case, she lay on the cot for days and didn't open her eyes. Julietta shook her. "Are you dying?" the old woman asked. "The queen wants to know," Julietta said, parroting Tilly. "If you are dying." "Oh no," answered Lee Cherie dreamily. "Tell Mama I am living for love." She fell immediately back into communion with her private totem, a beast that was both frog and woodpecker. And sometimes, too, the chipmunk that runs its little buns off at the center of the earth. Time passed. It must have been a week, maybe longer. Then one evening she awoke, clear-headed and refreshed. She stood up and stretched. She jogged around the attic a few times. She bent down and touched her toes. With a sharp appetite, she devoured the soy burger and mashed potatoes on her dinner tray. She put the chamber pot to its proper use. She sat down on the cot. "Yes, I'm alive," she said, "alive for love." She felt fine, although she had to confess that she could still feel on her neck the tepid breath of boredom. At that moment, something caught her eye. Something snagged the hem of her vision and yanked it like a child. A moon ray had penetrated one clear pane and was illuminating an object. She walked over and picked the object up. For the first time, she took account of the pack of camels.